If you are passionate for pigment, you have landed in the right place. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial for you of an owl eye study. It is a great horned owl, done mostly with Caran d'Ache pastel pencils, but some Stabilo, Carbothello pastel pencils, and Faber-Castell in the mix also. Right now I am drawing out where I want the highlight in the eye to be, so that it's just marking it off from everything else I'm going to be doing. Now I'm taking not my brightest orange, my softest orange, but my middle of the road orange, and going to be going through the whole bottom half of the eye. I don't want to start out with my brightest colors or my darkest colors, just middle of the road. And I'm outlining the eye not with a black right now, but a very dark blue. Eventually I'll come back over and blacken or darken that up. Now I'm getting in the pupil, and I like to mix a lot of colors into the pupil. Even though it's very, very dark, I like to put some dark brown, some deep blue, and black in there. Just kind of gives it a more lifelike feel. Now you'll see going over into the shadow areas of this eye. I'm going to start out with a little bit darker orange and just work my way up layer by layer. I'm going to start getting darker and putting in some deeper browns, some reds, and just getting that overcast shadow that's always up at the top of the eye, that the feathers are overcasting onto that eye itself. And then coming down into the eye, getting some brighter orange in there, working it in. Also getting some yellow, the brighter areas at the bottom of the iris. This was done on pastel matte paper. It's the maroon color. It's a great neutral. I love all the neutrals with pastel matte. This is my Derwent pencil. Actually, I forgot to mention that. I have a few Derwent, just a few, mostly the reds and their pinks. They have a great range of reds, pinks, and purples. And I'm getting this red orange in there for more contrast, just slowly building that contrast up. You don't want to go right in doing the eye exactly as you see it in your reference photo, because if you just start with your dark darks, your bright brights, it's not going to look realistic. This is a layering process, and you have to build up to that. So you want to start middle of the road of what you see, and then slowly bring everything together. Here you'll see me adding some blue to that shadow up top, because it's cool, just to cool down that shadow so it's not so warm. And some of my bright yellows. This is a lovely lemon yellow from Caran d'Ache. And now I'm going into that highlight area. And the highlight is not just this block of white. It's mostly blues, some light grays, and I'm getting that in there, darkening up the pupil some more. It's important to remember to not just go in and try to fill in an area with a block of color. I could go into the iris and just fill it in with black, but it's going to look much more realistic if I'm layering dark, deep blues, some dark browns, and the black, and I'm just slowly layering it in there. You're going to get a much more realistic result. I'm going back into the highlight, adding more blues, this very, very light gray, and I'm just following what the reference shows me exactly. I'm not thinking, oh, this is a highlight, it should just be this chunk of white. I'm looking at the individual colors within that highlight and just replicating it. And that's how you're going to get your most realistic results, is by not seeing what your brain wants to tell you, just really honing in and looking exactly at what the reference is and copying exactly that color. Here I'm softening out some of the hard edges with a lighter orange. Bringing back in that red orange for more contrast in the deeper, darker areas of the iris. These studies are really fun because now you can really get into the nitty-gritty of everything that's in the eye, and eyes are the funnest part of any artwork. and you're just really being able to hone in on all those details and do them on a much larger scale, studies are a great way to get better at facial features. Here I'm going back over with a black and darkening up around the eye, starting to get in the base for the feathers around that eye, and a dark gray underneath, which a bunch of lighter feathers will eventually be put on top. I'm just getting that medium base, that mid-tone for all those feathers to go on. And here we're starting on the beak. I'm going in with a bunch of blues. First you see this is my mid-tone blue. I'm getting it on there, and I'm slowly going to be building up the edges. They're going to be the brighter colors, the darker colors, and eventually the highlights. Here's a dark purple. I love this pencil. It's from Stabilo-Carbithel. I use it all the time. It's a dark purple. I love using it in the shadows. And I'm just working it around the beak. Bringing in a bit more black. At the bottom of the beak always tends to be darker. Some owls it tends to be lighter, but here in the great horned owl it's darker. Getting this bluish gray in the middle of the beak. And like a beak, something you want to be smooth in some areas, go in circular motions to get that smooth consistency with your pastel and get it in there. Now I'm getting down the mid-tone for all the feathers that are going to go around the beak. We're just starting to build up everything so that we can get those top feathers in eventually. Just placing down all of our mid-tones. Here's this purple again from Stabilo-Carbithel around the eye, into the shadow areas. You want to make sure you place your shadow areas first. You don't want to try to put the top feathers down and then try to get the shadows in between those tiny feathers. The cool thing about pastels is you can put lights on top of darks. So don't be afraid to get your darks down, and you'll build all your light feathers up on top of that. Darkening up my shadows, making sure everything is getting ready for the feathers that will eventually go on top. Here's some browns. This purple, again, I told you I use it so much from Stabilo-Carbithel. I really love this color. Getting it all over the head as the base. If you're just starting out, it's important to remember that pastel paintings come together in layers. When you're starting out, your first layer isn't going to look very impressive. Neither is your second layer. You're building up to those details, the details that bring it all together. What you're trying to do is see past the feathers or past the top coat of fur, whatever it is that you are drawing, and determine what are the colors underneath there. What are your contrasts, your midtones, and get those down. And then slowly you're going to get in a little bit more of your darker colors and then a little bit more of your lighter colors and build up to your darkest darks and your lightest lights. That is what you're doing. You're not going to just wham bam, it's beautiful. It's going to go through many ugly stages as you're building up. So you have to get used to seeing that. It's the same with painting. Very few mediums are instant. Many of them are a layering process. But when you're new, sometimes you can get discouraged because it's not coming together as fast or looking good at the very first. And it's not. It's not going to look great until you get to the very top layer and you're adding in all those beautiful details and it's coming together and you can see all of your hard work paying off. So here I'm just putting in those top feathers. Now I'm at the detailing stage, getting all the last little feathers in, checking and see if I missed anything, all the little feathers around the eye, and everything is pulling together nicely. And these eye studies are so good and they're so fun to do. Definitely try it out, and I know your skills will improve. with getting the eyes just right and getting the facial features, the nose or the beak just right. If you're passionate about pigment, tap that subscribe button and come along and paint with me. I'll tell you all the tips and tricks I know.